Prey, the latest film in the Predator series, hits Hulu here in the United States this weekend, and because it's on streaming, that means you can watch the movie anytime. This review is brought to you by Athletic Greens, the makers of AG1. Go to athleticgreens.com/Dan for a special offer and stay tuned until the end of this review for more info. Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Prey, which as I mentioned is the latest film in the Predator franchise, a franchise that doesn't exactly have an illustrious history, but even by those standards, I think that people are going to be really pleased with this movie. Prey takes place over 200 years before the first Predator movie and features Naru, a young Comanche who wants to become a warrior and in order to prove herself, finds herself stalking a menacing beast in the forest. Naru is played by Amber Midthunder, and yes, she is a woman who is defying the conventional gender norms in her Comanche tribe. And the fact that she's a woman is mostly used to establish her as an underdog in this story, no different than if the character had been a young male who wanted to be a warrior and wasn't quite given that status in the tribe yet. Because so much of the movie space, and particularly the movie YouTube space, works the way that it does, this has been the focus for a lot of people leading up to the release of this film, and I think it's really silly, at least out of context, for people that have no idea what the actual content of this movie is. But of course, that's a lot to ask, that somebody actually, see something before devoting their entire life to destroying it. Midthunder leads a cast that's made up almost entirely of Native American and First Nation actors, and there are actually going to be two versions of this film available, at least here in the US on Hulu. One where English is spoken predominantly by the Comanche characters in this film, and one that is entirely in the Comanche language. You'll be able to choose between these two versions, and it's not dubbed or overdubbed. It's actually two different shot versions of the scenes, one shot in English, one shot in the Comanche language. I will say that the version that I saw for review was the predominantly English version, and I look forward to checking out the other version once it's available streaming this weekend. I was a little concerned for the first half of the movie because it does drag a bit, and it's mainly because it's about Naru and her tribe learning what we already know, which is that the creature in the forest is a predator who is trying to find the alpha predator in the system and destroy it. But one of the things that actually makes this version of the story interesting is that it is set in the early 1700s, so there are no chain guns, there are no explosives. This fight against the predator has to be fought with ingenuity and the instincts of a nation of born hunters. The second half of Prey, I think, is easily the best we've seen from the Predator franchise since the original film in 1987. And it's also not just a one-on-one confrontation through the last half of the movie. The Predator and Naru's hunting of each other is complicated by the arrival of a group of Frenchmen who are also stalking their target, and what follows is an unholy cascade of carnage. But this mismatch really only heightens the tension. Yes, it feels like an impossible struggle, but the solutions that are found don't feel forced or unrealistic, and it's partly because this is a really well thought out film. Director Dan Trachtenberg gives the film a very natural feel, and the land itself is often used as an advantageous playing field full of mists and mud and terrain that the native population knows by heart and that the predator has to learn. All of this terrain is shot beautifully by cinematographer Jeff Cutter in a movie that appears to have been shot mostly on location. What a novel concept. This is also a new look Predator that honestly makes the original look like a male model. This one really is one ugly mother effer, and he is also brutal, dispatching with skill and efficiency. There is no nerfing going on with this Predator whatsoever, and the slow half of the movie quickly recedes into the rearview mirror when the franchise rediscovers a formula that I'm actually honestly shocked that they kind of forgot was what worked about the first movie so much. An underdog story featuring a human versus an unstoppable monster set against the backdrop of nature's battleground. The Predator is being played by first-timer Dane DeLegro, who gives this Predator a lot more of a petulance, a ruthlessness, and an impatience than we've seen in other Predators in the past. And I know that sounds weird, but that's one thing that I think has to be observed is the physicality of this character and just how important those actors are who are in these suits or behind this makeup. They're still playing a character, and this Predator does feel distinct from the other Predators that we've seen in other films. Amber Midthunder gives Naru the confidence of an unproven warrior who knows how skillful she can be, but we also see her struggle and fail, which allows her the opportunity opportunity to learn as she goes. I've seen the online skepticism that a young female character could be a viable physical threat to a predator, which is massive, but that's another thing that happens when you write a movie and a character smartly and logically. It doesn't feel like an unnatural fit because physical size is just one part of the equation. Naru's gender really isn't the focus of the story at all. This is a human story about survival, and like I said, about an underdog character, an underdog even more so than the other warriors in the tribe because she doesn't have the backing of the tribe. She is a survivor who just happens to be a capable and competent woman, much like characters like Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise before her. And let's be honest, if you can buy, as a Predator fan, that middle-aged Danny Glover can be a physical threat to a predator from outer space, then I think that you can make the leap in this movie too. Prey is not a perfect film. As I said, I think that the first half of the movie drags, and I think that there are some pretty dodgy computer effects, particularly when they try to go full CG animals. There's a sequence with a bear in particular that took me out of the movie because the effects just weren't quite there. But if you are an action fan or a fan of the Predator franchise, or just looking for a nice little taut 100-minute thriller, then I think that Prey is going to be exactly what you're looking for. This is also not a movie that's interested in any kind of erasure of what comes before, or I guess chronologically in the story, after the action in the film. It ties itself into the Predator mythology in some interesting ways that has me asking questions about what they might do next. And generally, it's just great in this franchise to finally have a second movie with the original Predator that you could program for a Predator marathon type night where you don't have to kind of like squint or like kind of like go, well, I guess we'll put on the best of these sequels. I think this is easily the best Predator sequel that we've gotten so far. I have a huge amount of affection for the first film, so I'm not going to say that it shares equal footing with it because apart from just my subjective love of the first Predator movie, I think it is a little bit tighter and a little bit better structured, but this still has some great action, some great menace to this Predator, a great story of survival, and it's a movie that when I got to the end of it, I found I had really enjoyed. So those are my thoughts on Prey. As I mentioned, it hits Hulu here in the United States this weekend. It'll be on, I believe, Disney Plus and other markets, which is super weird for people here that don't have like movies like this on Disney Plus. Are you looking forward to it? Are you hoping this is the Predator sequel you've been waiting for? Or are you like, hey, I like some of those other Predator sequels? Let me know down in the comments below. And before we go, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this review, Athletic Greens, the makers of AG1. I started taking it because I'm still trying to support better gut health and an overall better me. So what is AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Taking AG1 is super simple. I can either put a scoop right into a cup of water or mix it into a shake for breakfast. Either way, it's a quick and tasty way for me to start the day off right and to make sure I'm supporting not only my gut health, but my immune system, my recovery and focus, and so much more. Athletic Greens also cares about the planet. They are a climate neutral certified company, and for every purchase, Athletic Greens donates to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need, including No Kid Hungry right here in the United States. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase of AG1. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Dan. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Dan to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this review, and thank you for watching it. I've got more stuff coming up this week on the channel. I'll have a review of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies coming very soon, and I may also do a video on what the hell Warner Brothers has been doing. They're canceling movies left and right. I'm wondering what may have been canceled between the time I filmed this review and the time it comes out this morning. So I'm going to be following that story, may put something out later on in the week to kind of track that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.